Seller loses out twice. Twice. Hi all. I'm fond of a particular pair of shoes. I'm conscious of Rule 5, so nothing unique or fancy, just a very popular, instantly recognizable brand and style. They've been around for, Google's this and WDAF 101 years. I know what I'm getting, no hassle, no alarms and no surprises, please. So I buy a pair from an equally well-known online marketplace. They turn up and they're the wrong size by half a size up. So if I buy a UK 5, I know a UK 5.5 is going to be wrong for me seeing as I've been wearing them for 25 years, and these are about as much use to me as a Wickershart basket. I double-triple check the size listed is not what I received. I try them on indoors and my heel is lifting up in the shoe. Not okay. I message the seller about getting this corrected and receive messages to the effect of, yes, these shoes are very tight, so we usually send out a slightly larger size. It would be better for you to keep them for a discount. We can send you a 50% refund. This will be beneficial to you to save the hassle and cost of return shipping. This will be beneficial to me, all the hells and oh. You absolute shit pillow. I'm not arguing with them. I contact the site support and arrange for a completely free and postage fully paid return at absolutely no cost to myself. They give me a full refund. I mentally add seller to a list of people I hope walk into a lamppost. And I forget all about it until they arrive back in the post. They've been labeled by the courier as refused at delivery, possibly not known at this address. I forget now. I double-check. I have been fully refunded already. But the return address is different to the address listed on the seller's account. I contact support again and give them all the details, suggesting this may be a fraudulent seller who at the very least has admitted in writing they regularly ship items that are not as described. Support confirm I can keep the shoes and the refund, and they'll investigate the seller. I have no use for these shoes, so I drop them off at my favorite charity shop. I manage to get the right size from a different seller just fine, and I forget all about it again. Until months later, the next time I buy the same shoes again. After the trouble from before this time, I buy 2 pairs to avoid having to do this again for a while. Exactly the same thing happens. I get shoes half a size up from the ones I ordered. They send the same messages, though this time without the, we usually send a larger size one. They must have learned admitting to false advertising isn't a winner. Oh, it's you again. Okmofo. Back to support again, referencing the last complaint I made. Full refund, again. Free of charge return shipping again. Both items refused delivery and sent back to me, again. I contact support again. They confirm I can keep the refund and the shoes, again. My local cat shelter charity shop gets donations of brand new shoes, again. It's time for more shoes again. Local cats need me to do this. I'm never buying shoes any other way, ever again. I'm 99% sure I found them again. Guy doesn't get what he wants after he almost hits me and my kids. So earlier today, I was walking through the parking lot with my kids 2 and 5, carrying the 2-year-old and holding hands with the 5-year-old. We were crossing to where you were at the front to enter, and I was looking down to tell the 5-year-old to go this direction. I look up and a car is reversing into us. Not out of a parking spot, they're reversing in the lane, which is not the way traffic's supposed to go. I'm less than 2 inches from getting hit by time. I got me and my girls out of way, and you see the car jerk. To me, that's a clear indicator they didn't know we were there, and even if they did know WDFU reversing with people in the lane? I'm pissed, I'm angry, and I kick their car. EFF them. I kick and turn to go in, but they start yelling, "Don't kick my car." I'm like, hell no, you don't nearly hit my children, and get to yell at me, so I go their passenger window and yell, "You almost hit me and my kids F, #off. They say they saw us, and they were never close to hitting me. I told them, yes, you were less than 2 inches before we got out of way, and the way you hit the brake shows you didn't know we were there. They're saying they got cameras, and they're going call cops for me kicking car. I said, call them, I'll gladly admit to kicking your car, and let's show them your video of you not being close to. They yell and tell me move. I realized they were reversing to get a parking spot they drove by. Clarification. No, they weren't reversing into the spot. This spot is angled, and they would have to reversed and turned in large arc to get reversed in. They reversed straight and were going pull forward into the spot. Also clarification, me and my kids were in the lane road, not in car spot when they were reversing. So I realized they want that parking spot when they tell me to move, and this spot apparently is worth them almost hitting me and my kids. Well, it's worth everything to me not to let have it since I know if cops called they won't be arrested for anything, and maybe I'll get something for kicking car, but I don't care. So I tell them no, I'm not moving, you said you wanted cops. I'll wait right here while you call them, and I'll gladly tell them I kicked your car after you almost hit, but you have video to show that, right? They throw some more curse words at me and tell me to move. I just say call the cops, I'm not moving unless cops come. They call me word which whatevers and drive off. Not the most crazy revenge, but satisfying that I screwed them out their parking spot. First chair yells at me for missing a performance, make him look like a total tool before the full room. I, 23F, recently graduated this past weekend, and my parents came to my city to have dinner with me. When we were talking at dinner, my mom reminded me of a kid I used to attend high school with. I honestly didn't remember this story until she said his name, but I think it was a pretty satisfying moment in my young life. For context, I've been playing violin as a casual hobby for the vast part of my life. My grandma knew someone through the grapevine who would mentor me, and I attended her lessons from kindergarten all the way to senior year of high school. I have a pretty good grasp of the instrument and an echoic memory, which is a neat little party trick. I did do some recitals here and there, but the closest I'd ever come to playing in a group was with my old church, and even then, it was pretty laid back. When I was a freshman, I joined with my school string orchestra. This was a small group, and I was the only new freshman that year. I think it was about 14 kids at the most. My director was a very cool guy, and he was very accommodating since I was new to the learn a piece in X amount of weeks, then be ready to perform it here strategy. Again, I was a casual player. I was still on book 4 of the Suzuki collection. This did not sit well with the first chair for violins. Let's call him Guy. Guy was a junior, a top scoring student, and had a bunch of other accolades to his name. My mom also apparently knew Guy. When she did recess duty at my previous school, Guy was constantly giving her lip and always brushed her off to seem cool. According to her and some gossip, he was one of those instant gratification, only child types. The kids who were spoiled rotten by their parents, so they never have to wait. My mom did not like his spoiled brattiness, and when she heard he was the first chair of my orchestra, she was already getting some, oh, God, sort of vibes from him, but said nothing to not make me worry. Guy was a very intense leader. I think his instant gratification attitude spilled over into his musical pursuits. He was highly competitive and took his role as first chair very seriously. From day one, he made it clear that he didn't think I belonged in the orchestra. He would make snide comments about my playing, question my abilities, and generally make me feel unwelcome, especially with my other orchestra members. He always went out of his way to exclude me. I wasn't too bothered by it at first, but it did slowly chip away at me. I continued to practice diligently and work hard to prove myself. Slowly but surely, I started to gain confidence in my playing. My director was supportive and encouraged me to keep pushing forward, and I will always thank him for that. In early fall, we were due to have an open house for incoming freshmen/families, and my orchestra group was supposed to be there and perform for a few hours to get kids to join. Unfortunately, a few days before, my dad had some sudden medical complications, ruptured spleen. Because it was so sudden and out of nowhere, I didn't have time to really tell my director that I wouldn't be able to make it due to the family emergency. The open house was on Sunday, and my director called my house that very Sunday to try and figure out where I was. Admittedly, I panicked when the director called. It totally slipped my mind. I think I said something like, "Sir, I apologize for all this, but my dad's in the hospital. He's having surgery and it's been serious and complicated and I just don't know what's going to happen. I apologize for not giving you a proper heads up, but it's just been a haze all weekend." Tried to remain cool and calm, even though I was mentally freaking the hell out. Thankfully, my director was very understanding and even talked to me and my mom to make sure we were doing okay. He said that it was no big deal that I was missing out, since this was a smaller event and I should focus more on my own mental health more than anything. It was nice to have such an understanding guy. I don't think he told any of the other members out of respect for my privacy, but Guy was frankly pissed about the whole situation. He was stewing on it for a while. Thankfully, my dad's surgery was a success, and he was doing better. Of course, Guy had to spoil my mood. The orchestra room at my school is usually open in the mornings, which lets kids drop off their instruments for the day. The day after the performance, I walked in to put my violin in its usual spot, and Guy angrily confronted me about why I missed out, pitching a whole scene in front of the others who were hanging out in there. I have no idea why he did this, but it was clear he was trying to embarrass me. He accused me of being unreliable and letting the team down, saying that my absence reflected poorly on the orchestra as a whole. He yelled, "What the hell gives you a pass to skip yesterday?" And at this point, I've already been stressed for the better part of a weekend, so I decide to get some petty revenge right now. I'm guessing he wants me to just start crying, so I do. He looks satisfied for a second, before I yell out, loud enough for people outside to hear, "My dad was in surgery, you dick," and then run off. Was I acting? Yes. But did it instantly shut him up? Absolutely. I got told this by a buddy in band, but after I ran out, guy looked like he'd swallowed a damn frog at that moment. Everyone in the room was giving him a look that said, "What the hell, guy?" And he looked like he wanted to yell at everyone. After that, I guess he tried to pitch another fit in the group chat with all his older buddies, and I think they chewed him out too, because from their perspective, he just yelled at a freshman whose dad was having a damn medical emergency. I got stopped by a few of them in the hall, and they checked in, saw if I was doing better, just extending the basic definition of empathy. It was nice to see, and I think they felt better when I confirmed some stuff. Word got back to the director quick. He must have chewed Guy a new one, because when I got into orchestra that day, Guy looked very defeated. He didn't even look at me until the director took the stand. First off, he said the open house was a moderate success and congratulated the group who played. However, he shifted gears and said he was very disappointed by some infighting within the group and immediately turned towards Guy. He cleared his throat and asked if he had anything to say to me. Guy let out a very weak, "I'm sorry," and began hastily setting up his music stand. It was a very pathetic apology, but I wasn't exactly gonna sulk about not getting one. I had a lot more important things to focus on. After class, my director asked how I was doing, if my dad's surgery went okay, etc. Again, cool guy. I hope he's enjoying retirement. The director ended up emailing my mom about what happened. Knowing that the little shit that defied her authority back then got some minor comeuppance was a little petty revenge for her, carried out unintentionally by me. And the cherry on top? My dad came home the exact same day, so that was another weight lifted off my shoulders. Guy did revert back to his usual rudeness, but he never blew up on me again to that effect. A bunch of his orchestra buddies did end up befriending me, so I had an enjoyable 2 years with them before they all graduated. After that, I ended up taking Guy's chair, and I promised myself I'd be more laid back and understanding with other members than he was with me. I think it worked out pretty good. We were a smaller group at that point, but still a really great sounding one. TLDR. Kid that hated me made an ass of himself and chewed out by teacher, and that's like the best petty revenge you can ask for. Tedious return policy? No price adjustments? Hope you like cardboard. I had placed 2 online orders from a clothing store. Then, the next day, they put on a huge sale discounting the items I bought by 40%. I opened their customer service chat and asked for a price adjustment. Nope, they don't do price adjustments. I asked to cancel the order, which had not yet shipped. Nope, too far along to cancel the order. Okay, time to return and repurchase at the new price. Each return has a $5 return fee. Can I combine the 2 orders into one return shipment to save one return fee? Nope, return fee is per order, not per shipment. So what can I do but print out the separate return labels, find the largest cardboard boxes I have, pack them up separately, and ship away. At least now I don't have to break down those boxes. You are going to have to move if you want my car park. On Friday, I was waiting to pick up my spouse from a medical appointment. He emerges, limping and sore from a guided injection in the hip. He slowly gets in the car, and he tells me how it went. I start the car, put it in reverse, and wouldn't you know it, there's a driver who wants this space. Cool. Will they reverse to give me room?
No.
So I wait for them to move. They don't. I wait. They wait. This is also in a busy road and it's angle parking nose in. Still waiting. Been over a minute. So I decide we need milk. I turn the car off and tell my spouse to sit tight and let me know what happens. I come back out to him chuckling with a huge grin on his face. I ask the well? Turns out impatient Karen blared the horn twice and finally drove forward and realized there was no driver in the car. Blares the horn again and sped off. First time I have been this petty for a while. Can't follow the rules at the dog park? I might not be able to fix it, but I can make it expensive. I regularly visit my local dog park with 2 of my dogs. We have a great neighborly relationship with several of the regulars, and it really is a highlight of my day to go to the dog park. I always make a joke that I'm going to just stop bringing the dogs at some point because I think I get more out of it than they do. My local dog park is easy and convenient for me to use, and it's even more convenient because my brother lives in the house that is next to the dog park, with his grass side yard being directly on the other side of the dog park parking lot. The dog park regularly runs out of parking spots, and there are clear signs on the edge of my brother's yard that say, "No parking on grass. Vehicles will be towed at owner's expense." Well, due to this little familial perk, I have taken to just parking on his grass because my brother said I'm more than welcome to, and it keeps a spot open for others who may need it. This will be important later. So, about 2 months ago, somebody new decided to begin using the dog park with their 2 chihuahuas, and they immediately broke 2 rules. First, they didn't leash in the area that is leashes only. Second, they brought their chihuahuas into the big dog area. I politely told this lady that she needed to take her chihuahuas out because they were snapping at several dogs, including my hound dog who is not real smart. So my hound dog wasn't getting the message, and the chihuahuas were getting really aggressive to the point that one of them tried to bite my dog. She responded by telling me to F off. I left and went over to my brother's house and made sure my dog was okay. He was. This continued for several weeks, her dogs in the big dog area, without leashes from the car to the gated area, but I was a little upset that even after calling the county, no one was holding this woman accountable to the rules. Finally, I decided to just change my schedule. So, I staggered my time of going to the dog park, and I started getting there so I could leave when Chihuahua Lady arrived. She came at the same time every day. I did too. It isn't uncommon for people to have specific dog park times, and I was able to avoid most interaction. That is, except for the one I was looking forward to. So, one morning I had the boys leashed back up on the way out, and as we were walking to my car, there wasn't any parking available. I saw Chihuahua Lady pulling in. She was looking for a spot, and I said to her, "I guess you can park over on that grass once I leave." She says, "I didn't think that was allowed." I said, "Oh yeah, I park there all the time. Just wait for me to pull out and take the spot." She said, "Thanks. Wow, I appreciate it." So, I pulled out. I saw her pull in right behind me, and I called my brother, who works from home, and let him know that somebody had parked on his grass. I asked him to call up the tow company and have them towed, and asked them to come quick. He was a little puzzled as to the reason for the urgency, and I explained the situation and who this was. Well, he calls me back 20 minutes later and says that the car is hooked up to a wrecker and that there is an angry lady screeching at the tow truck driver, telling the tow truck driver that she sees people park there all the time. At this point, my brother went outside and explained that the only car that is ever there is his brother's, and that his brother is the only one allowed to park there, and that he saw her pull in this morning when his brother left, directly behind him. The lady continued to scream, and the tow truck driver said, "If you pay the unhook fee of $300 and the owner agrees to it, you can just move your car." Well, my brother is a nice guy and figured my plan had gone far enough, so he agreed. The lady had to shell out $300 right there in front of him, and the tow truck driver unhooked her and took off. She looked at my brother and said, "Your brother is an asshole," got her dogs in her car, and drove off. And even though that lady still won't change her ways, at least I got to feel a little better about the situation.